this is Tamara, your courtroom companion. Have you ever felt like you are going crazy or feel confused when you're dealing with a narcissist? Have you ever wondered why relationship issues with a narcissist stay unresolved? In today's video, I'm going to tell you the reasons why those things are the case. I'm going to share with you why you feel confused and crazy and why the relationship issues stay unresolved. So we're going to get into that in a second. So welcome to my channel. This is where we talk about custody, family court, and narcissism. So if those topics are of interest to you, you're in the right place. As always, stay to the end because from time to time, most times, I try to share a personal story from my own journey in hopes of sharing, I'm hoping that when I share my story, that you might be able to resonate with it and be able to kind of recognize narcissistic behaviors in your own relationships, or be able to relate to some of kind of what I went through if you're going to family court or are dealing with custody issues. I'm hoping that my custody situation will help you. As always, what I express here are just my own thoughts and feelings. I'm not a therapist or an attorney, so if you need professional advice, do seek that out. As a reminder, just hit that subscribe button below if you are interested in these topics so that you will be notified when I upload my content. So let's answer that first question. Why do you feel crazy and confused when you're dealing with a narcissist? The simple answer is because dealing with them will make anybody crazy and confused. But that's just the simple answer. So let's get into the real meat of this video. First, it's not you, it's them. You're not having trouble processing anything. You're not having trouble understanding anything. A narcissist will provoke you by their behavior. And when you try to understand it and try to reason with it, it will make you crazy and confused. And if you do react to something that they did, or if they provoked you in some deliberate way, they will pounce on whatever your reaction is. And it doesn't matter what it is. In the eyes of a narcissist, your silence they will use against you. They will tell you that you're giving them the silent treatment. And by the way, I'm going to link above a video I did on the real reason why narcissists use the silent treatment. So I'll link that above and below. I think you'll find that video helpful. But if you're silent, whether you want to protect yourself or you've realized that communicating with them is difficult, they'll use your silence against you. They will tell you that you are always given the silent treatment, or they will, just use your silence as compliance. If you set boundaries with a narcissist or try to set boundaries with a narcissist, you'll be wrong for that as well. If you try to defend your position or explain your position, that is like a playground for a narcissist, because not only do they have the original issue that they can make you feel horrible about, but now anything that comes out of your mouth, they also use against you, and they will try to spin you in circles with this circular conversation. They play the blame game. If you try to hold them accountable, that is like the worst sin of all. If you try to hold them accountable for the behaviors that they are demonstrating, or for the way that they're communicating, or the way that they're behaving, they will make you pay for it emotionally, financially, physically. Sometimes, they just don't care about their behavior, and they don't want to hear about their behavior because in their eyes, they're perfect and you're wrong. So what does all of this mean for you as a normal, healthy person who has empathy, who desires to have healthy relationships based on love, respect, mutuality, understanding, reasoning, forgiveness, all of those things that make up a great, healthy relationship? If you desire those things, you might find yourself trying to have those kinds of things with a narcissist. What you will often find, probably 99.9% of the time, when you're trying to have that purpose of the relationship, based on love and respect and those kinds of things, a narcissist is not interested in those things. And so when you're trying to, kind of talk to that person in the same way you would another person, you might find that you're beating your head against the wall because they are not interested in those same things. That is not why they have relationships. They have relationships to boost themselves up, make other people feel inferior, and so that they can just use people for their own narcissistic supply. They're constantly in need of this narcissistic supply. That's the purpose of their interactions with any human being. So you will find yourself feeling crazy and confused when you're dealing with them because they're not normal. They don't approach relationships like other normal human beings. They have a specific goal in mind for that relationship, and your job is, on the other end of that, is to fulfill that purpose. And so if they need you to do something for them, that's what they're going to have the relationship about. You might be someone that is in the narcissist life, whether you're a sibling or a spouse or something like that. Your purpose is to constantly feed them and make them feel good. That's your job. So as a normal person, this will feel like crazy making. It will feel like you can't get anywhere with them, and you won't get anywhere with them because, again, you're approaching the relationship thinking or trying to interact with them like you're dealing with another human being on the other end of this communication, and you're not. They play deliberate mind games, they gaslight, they cause the confusion deliberately, they rewrite history, they are pathological liars, and they avoid taking accountability at all costs. And the reason for that is because they're constantly deflecting and projecting their behavior onto others so that everybody doesn't really understand who they really are back here. So they put up all of these mind games and they put up all of this confusion and cause chaos. Also, no one really gets close to them because they're very insecure people. They're the most insecure people, in my opinion, on the planet. And so they do everything to kind of keep people from really knowing who they are. When they rewrite history, I think that's one of the things that can make you really feel crazy, is because if you were part of the same incident or the same story or the same situation or issue, if you were part of that, they will try to rewrite history and make you doubt your own reality. In my experience, the greatest thing that causes the confusion and the chaos and just feeling like off balance with them is the way that they sort of share their personal or their false reality. They have a very strong false reality, and they will interact with people from that false reality, and it can be very maddening. It's like you're talking to someone and you almost want to go, were you a part of that same story? Look, like let's just use an example. Let's say that you two went to a movie. Let's say it's your spouse. You go to a movie, that person's a narcissist, and let's say that there is a fight or an argument between the two of you before the movie, and that you try your best during the movie to kind of make up. Maybe you hold his hand, maybe you whisper in his ear. Let's say you do all of that, and then you leave the movie, and then you come home and you start fighting about it. The narcissist may try to get you to believe that the fight started earlier in the day, and they may try to even tell you that you did nothing during the movie to assist. They may even say, you didn't hold my hand, when you know deep down that you did try to hold their hand. They go to that level. They try to rewrite history so that you will then defend yourself, and then they can take whatever you say and use that against you. It's just this crazy, chaotic circle of communication that just goes nowhere. So if you find yourself, in this crazy communication with a narcissist, just know that you're feeling normal feelings. It is crazy, it is confusing. And at some point, you may realize that, maybe you don't want to have this person in your life. And a narcissist is okay with that because you can be discarded. And the only people that the narcissist wants around them are people who will comply and get really 100% compliance. You're there for a purpose. If you're not going to serve the purpose, then you need to go. They will literally discard you like yesterday's trash. Those people actually that stick around the narcissist, that give them what they want and don't challenge them, they're called flying monkeys. So that's just a term that they use to describe these kinds of people. So if you are not comfortable in that space, you will likely get the narcissist out of your life. And that's okay by the narcissist because people are just a dime a dozen. They'll get someone else to replace you. So let's answer the second question. Why are things so unresolved with a narcissist? So why are issues constantly never truly resolved? Like in a healthy relationship, most people seek resolution, but with a narcissist, you find it that you can't really resolve anything. So things just keep coming back up and never quite get kind of finished. And the reason for that is simple. The narcissist benefits greatly from things being unresolved. If things are resolved, then there's quiet, there's peace. That's not what they're interested in. What they're interested in is chaos, because they need the chaos so that they can make other humans feel bad about themselves. So if there's chaos, they can say, oh, you're to blame, or you did this, or you did that. They need that in order to breathe. Literally, maybe not literally, but blaming others and making other people feel bad is like air in the lungs for a narcissist. And so they benefit greatly from things being unresolved. If things are unresolved, then they might have to work hard to create more chaos. So they just keep it going. I see on this channel quite a bit that narcissists would rather have bad attention than no attention. And so this chaos is where they thrive. And so you will often, most times, not be able to resolve anything with a narcissist. As a person, you are just a potential source of narcissistic supply for a narcissist. That's all they're interested in. And they will do whatever they have to do to kind of secure that supply. So if you find that your narcissist from time to time, will love bomb you or give you presents or something, that is not because they feel bad about the way they treated you. That is because they are working their next angle. Everything is a manipulation with them. And so things just really are never going to feel right. You're always going to feel off balance with a narcissist because, again, they're just not interested in the same things you are in that relationship. If all of this wasn't bad enough, the narcissist will sort of build this momentum of chaos and confusion, but then they will sit back and play the victim and cause you to think that you are the perpetrator. They will literally say that you are the problem. So they top it off with that. That's the icing on the cake for them, is for them to then walk away from this as the victim. And as a normal person, you would want, if you care about someone, you'll want them not to feel bad. Well, if you go after a narcissist to try to help them feel better, that's something they will use against you as well. Then they'll say, well, see, you admitted it last time. It's just chaos. And so resolving something for them is just not even worth the effort. So hopefully this helps you understand kind of the dynamics at play. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to share a personal story with you from my own journey. And this is an interesting one because it's the first moment in my relationship with my ex-husband where I literally second-guessed my own reality. And it's very plain in my mind because it was so startling. And I'll tell you what my reaction is to that, or what my reaction was to that. So the story was that I had been dating he became my husband, but when we were dating, we were spending all this time together. I had a daughter from a previous relationship, and she was in high school, and she was a teenager. So she was spending all her time with her teenager friends. She was on the cheerleading squad, and so she was always at functions with them and functions with football players. So she was never around. So I was really enjoying this time in my life, starting to date again. And so I started to spend time with my ex-husband. We were dating at the time. And at some point, my daughter let me know that the following week on a Tuesday, and I remember it was a Tuesday, she said, "Mom, I don't have practice that night. I'm not doing anything. Let's go to dinner." And I was like, yes, I jumped at that opportunity. And so I let my ex-husband know that I was going to be, going out with my daughter for dinner. And so that was on a Wednesday the previous week. And so leading up to that following Tuesday, I just remember him picking fights with me. And then over the weekend, at some point, he just stopped talking to me. And then by Tuesday, I was just really startled by all of this, because when I finally did talk to him before that Tuesday, I think it must have been Monday when I actually spoke to him, because I wanted to make things better, because I wanted to share, my relationship with my daughter. We were becoming friends by that point, and I was just telling her I wanted to tell her how happy I was, and things just felt off balance. But I wanted to correct that before I went to dinner with my daughter. And when I finally spoke to my ex-husband before the dinner, he was like, well, the reason we're not speaking is because you want to spend all your time with your daughter. And I was just blown away. I could not understand what was, like, I just didn't know where to go with that. I said, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I tried to explain. I tried to show, hey, look, we spent this day, that I was finding myself defending. And so he still wasn't talking to me really when I went to dinner with my daughter. And I just happened to kind of just check my own reality with her. I started to think, what's going on? And nobody could be this crazy. So I remember talking to her and I said, he said this to me. Like, he said, I spent all my time with you. And she was like, what? What are you talking about? And so I just remember walking away from that experience really being the first time where I said to myself, literally, no one is this crazy. No one would make this up. Nobody would lie like this. What am I missing? I need to try to understand his position. And that set the tone for the rest of our relationship, because again, I cared about the relationship, so I sought to understand his side. I sought to seek clarification. I wanted to make things better, and that was a trap. That was a full-on trap. It was deliberate, and I just remember feeling so off balance, and it never got better. Just never got better. So I hope this video was helpful to you. I hope sharing my story was helpful to you in some way. But as a reminder, I'm going to be opening up my coaching practice next month, December 2021. And so if you are in need of coaching in the areas of narcissism, family, court, or custody, I will have that booking site ready for you in mid-December. I'm just waiting on it to be built. So I look forward to helping you one-on-one in that customized way. If you thought this video was helpful, I'm going to link one above on healing from narcissistic abuse. I did a video on how to kind of begin the healing process if you're just ending a narcissistic relationship of any kind. I think this video will be helpful to you, so you don't want to miss that. It's in the cards above and in the description below. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.